Hey everyone, and welcome to the Deep Dive. So it sounds like you're ready to explore the world of herbal cosmetics,
That's right.
and maybe even thinking about starting your own business.
Definitely an exciting field.
Super cool. And we've got a ton of research here, articles, interviews, all about herbal cosmetics.
Whole treasure trove of info.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're ready to really kind of dig in and unpack this whole world.
Absolutely.
From the science of how these products are made to, the marketing and the business side of things.
The whole 9 yards.
So it should be a really fascinating deep dive.
Yeah, you know what I think is really interesting is that we're seeing this huge shift in what people are looking for when it comes to beauty products.
Right.
Consumers are so much more aware these days about what they're putting on their skin.
Yeah.
And they want products that are not only good for them, but also good for the environment.
Exactly. And that's where herbal cosmetics really come in.
They're a natural fit.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
So before we get into all of that, let's just, define what we're talking about here.
sure.
What exactly makes a cosmetic herbal? And
Mhm.
I mean, is it as simple as just like, rubbing a strawberry on your face or?
Well, it could be a little more sophisticated than that.
Okay, yeah.
But you're right at the heart of it is this idea of harnessing the power of plants.
Okay.
So we're talking about ingredients like aloe vera, which is incredibly soothing,
Right.
chamomile calming,
Mm-hmm.
tea tree oil, that's a powerhouse for blemishes,
Yeah.
really tapping into nature's pharmacy.
I love that nature's pharmacy.
There's a whole world of powerful ingredients just waiting to be discovered.
So cool. So you've got these plants,
Right.
but how do they actually become, the creams and the serums and the lotions
Yeah.
that we see on the shelves?
It's a good question.
Like, is it really as simple as just like grinding up some herbs and...
Not quite.
Okay.
There's a real art and science to formulating herbal cosmetics.
Okay.
And it all starts with carefully selecting the right plants for the job and then extracting those beneficial compounds.
Oh, wow. So it's like a multi-step process.
It is.
Interesting. What are some of the ways that they actually extract those compounds from the plants?
There are a few key methods,
Okay.
like cold pressing, which is fantastic for preserving those delicate oils, things like rosehip oil,
Right.
things that are very sensitive to heat.
Got it.
Then there's steam distillation,
Mm-hmm.
perfect for capturing those beautiful aromatic essences like lavender or chamomile.
Okay.
And then we have solvent extraction, which can be used to isolate very specific compounds.
So each method has its own sort of purpose,
Absolutely.
depending on what they're trying to get out of the plant?
Exactly. It depends on the plant itself and what you're aiming to achieve with the final product.
That's so interesting. Okay, so you've got these extracts,
Right.
and they're being carefully formulated.
Yeah.
But, I've always wondered,
Okay.
like when you make something at home, sometimes it can go bad pretty quickly.
Right.
So how do herbal cosmetics stay fresh and safe to use on the shelf?
That's one of the big challenges with working with natural ingredients.
Right, that
They can be a little more susceptible to spoilage compared to their synthetic counterparts.
makes sense.
But there are definitely ways to combat that.
Okay, good.
A lot of brands are turning to natural preservatives, like rosemary extract,
Oh, interesting.
which not only has antioxidant properties,
Right.
but also acts as a natural preservative.
So it's doing double duty.
Exactly.
Mm,
It's a win-win.
love that.
And then there's vitamin E,
Mm-hmm.
another popular choice that helps to protect against oxidation.
Okay.
And of course, rigorous testing and quality control are non-negotiable.
Of course.
That's so important to ensure consistency and potency throughout the product's shelf life.
Right. You want to know that it's going to be effective and safe.
Absolutely. Safety and quality are paramount in this industry.
Right. Okay, so that makes me feel better.
Good.
Knowing that there are ways to harness, the power of nature while still making sure that those products are safe and effective.
Exactly. And that brings up another important point, which is the regulations surrounding herbal cosmetics.
Yes, good point.
I mean, just like any other cosmetic product, they need to meet strict safety standards.
Makes sense.
So in the U.S., you have the FDA setting guidelines,
Mm-hmm.
and in Europe, you have the EU cosmetics regulation.
Okay.
These regulations cover everything from ingredient restrictions
Mm-hmm.
to labeling requirements and good manufacturing practices.
Good manufacturing practices.
Yeah, what they call GMP.
Okay, can you break that down a little bit?
Sure. So GMP is all about ensuring quality and safety at every stage of the production process.
Got it.
So that means having a clean and controlled manufacturing environment
Right?
to prevent any contamination.
Of course.
using validated methods for testing both the ingredients and the finished products, and keeping meticulous records to ensure traceability.
So it's like a whole system.
It's like a system of checks and balances to make sure that what ends up in that jar is safe and effective.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So we've talked about what herbal cosmetics are,
Great.
how they're made,
The science behind it?
and, the safety aspect, which is super important.
Definitely.
But now I want to get to, the why.
Okay.
Why are they so popular right now?
Yeah.
I mean, it feels like more than just a trend, right?
Oh, it's definitely more than just a fad.
Okay.
What we're seeing is this really interesting shift in consumer awareness. People are becoming so much more conscious
Right.
of the potential impact of synthetic chemicals,
Great.
both on their health and the environment.
Yeah, for sure.
And they're actively seeking out natural alternatives that align with their values.
Right.
And herbal cosmetics really tick all those boxes.
Yeah, they do. It's not just about looking good. It's about feeling good about what you're putting on your skin, too.
Absolutely. It's a holistic approach to beauty.
I love that. Okay, so you're at the store, and you're looking at all these different brands, and they all say natural.
Right.
How can you tell, the genuine one?
Yeah, how do you know who to trust?
Yeah, from the ones that are maybe just kind of jumping on the bandwagon.
That's such an important point.
Yeah.
Consumers really need to be savvy shoppers,
Okay.
especially in a market that can be flooded with misleading claims.
Right.
One good indicator is to look for certifications
Okay.
from reputable organizations.
Like what kind of organization?
So you have the Soil Association,
Mm-hmm.
EcoCert, the USDA Organic Seal.
Okay.
These certifications mean that the product has met specific standards
Okay.
for natural and organic content.
So it's like a stamp of approval.
It gives you a bit more confidence
Yeah.
in what you're buying.
And I'm guessing also looking at the ingredient list,
Absolutely.
if you see a bunch of chemicals you can't even pronounce, that's probably a red flag.
That's a good rule of thumb.
Yeah.
A genuinely herbal cosmetic will feature recognizable plant-based ingredients.
Yeah.
Not a laundry list of synthetic chemicals you've never heard of.
Okay, so it's about being an informed consumer.
It is knowledge is power.
Yes, it is. Okay, so now let's get to the fun part.
Okay,
The benefits.
let's talk about those amazing benefits.
Yeah. So we know they're gentle and eco-friendly,
Right.
but what can they actually do for our skin and hair?
This is where the magic of herbal cosmetics really shines.
Okay, tell me more.
It's all about personalized beauty,
Okay.
using nature's toolbox
Ah.
to address specific concerns.
So if you have oily skin,
Exactly.
are there certain herbs that are good for that?
Absolutely. So for oily skin, tea tree oil is a classic remedy, known for its antibacterial properties.
Right.
And witch hazel can help to tighten pores
Okay.
and control excess sebum.
So it's like choosing the right herbs for the job.
Exactly. It's like creating a recipe for your skin
So cool.
based on your individual needs.
What about dry skin?
Oh, for dry skin,
Yeah.
you got wonderful ingredients like shea butter, which is deeply nourishing,
Yeah.
helps to lock in moisture,
I love shea butter.
and avocado oil,
Oh, yeah.
which is packed with vitamins and fatty acids
So good.
that can help to soften and hydrate the skin.
Wow. Okay, so it's like a whole different set of ingredients for every skin type?
It's all about finding the right combination for you.
And what about hair?
Hair care is another area where herbal ingredients really shine.
Oh, good.
So, for example, if you're looking to boost hair growth,
Mm-hmm.
rosemary oil is a fantastic choice.
Interesting. I've heard that.
Yeah, there's research that suggests it can increase circulation to the scalp
Wow.
and stimulate hair follicles.
Really?
And peppermint oil is another great one
Mm-hmm.
that not only invigorates the scalp, but can also promote thicker, healthier hair.
Oh, I love that tingling feeling of peppermint.
It's so refreshing.
It's amazing. Okay, so we've talked about skin.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about hair.
Right.
Let's talk a little bit more about the sustainability aspect.
Yeah,
Definitely.
okay.
We touched on it before, but
Yeah, it's worth diving deeper.
I think it's so important. So we know that they're good for us,
Mm-hmm.
but how are they good for the planet?
One of the biggest advantages of herbal cosmetics
Okay.
is that they generally have a much lower environmental impact
Okay.
compared to conventional cosmetics.
How so?
Well, for starters, the ingredients are often renewable and biodegradable.
So they break down naturally.
Exactly. They don't stick around and pollute the environment.
Right. And a lot of brands are really focused on using sustainable packaging as well.
That's a huge part of it.
Yeah.
And sourcing their ingredients ethically.
So it's really like a holistic approach.
It is. It's about considering the entire life cycle of the product.
From the plants to the packaging.
And everything in between.
I love that. Okay. So we've talked about the present of herbal cosmetics. But what about the future?
Yeah. Where are things headed?
What exciting innovations are on the horizon?
Oh, the future of herbal cosmetics is incredibly exciting.
Okay, good.
One area that's really pushing boundaries is the development of new and improved extraction techniques.
Oh, wow. Like what?
So, for example, scientists are exploring methods like supercritical fluid extraction,
Okay.
which uses pressurized carbon dioxide
Wow.
to extract plant compounds.
So they don't have to use harsh chemicals?
Exactly. It's a much gentler and more sustainable approach.
And it still gets those good compounds out.
It results in these incredibly pure and potent extracts.
Wow, that's amazing. Are there any other areas of innovation that you're particularly excited about?
Definitely.
Tell me.
One that I find particularly fascinating is the use of biotechnology in herbal cosmetics.
Oh, wow. Like, what does that mean?
So scientists are now able to cultivate plant cells in a lab.
Like, grow plants in a lab?
Essentially, yes.
How is that even possible?
It's a very complex process.
Yeah.
But essentially, they can take a small sample of plant tissue and create a cell culture that can be grown in a controlled environment. And this allows them to produce very specific compounds in a much more sustainable and efficient way.
So they don't have to, like, harvest huge fields of plants.
Exactly. It reduces the impact on the environment.
It's like science fiction.
It really is. And it has the potential to revolutionize the way we source and utilize plant-based ingredients.
That's so cool. It sounds like there are endless possibilities when you combine, the power of nature with cutting-edge science.
Absolutely. The future is bright for herbal cosmetics.
I love that. Okay, so for our listener who's like, I want to create my own line.
Right, they're feeling inspired.
Yes. What advice would you give them as they embark on this journey?
I'd say the most important thing is to cultivate a deep passion for both plants and the science of cosmetic formulation.
Okay, so it's about marrying those two worlds.
It is. This industry requires a genuine love for working with natural ingredients and a commitment to understanding the complex processes involved in creating safe and effective products.
Right, because you don't want to just be slapping things together.
Exactly. There's a real art and science to it.
Where would you recommend someone start if they're really interested in this?
There are some fantastic resources available these days,
Okay.
both online and in person.
Like what?
Well, for example, the American Herbalists Guild
Okay.
offers a wealth of information on herbalism. And there are numerous institutions that offer courses in cosmetic science and formulation.
So you can get like the hands-on training.
You can, and
Yeah.
that's invaluable.
Yeah. What else is important for success in this field?
I'd say creativity
Okay.
and a strong entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah, you got to hustle.
You need to be able to envision unique product concepts, develop a distinct brand identity,
Okay.
and have the drive and determination to navigate the complexities of building a successful business.
That's a whole package deal.
It's not just about knowing your herbs, it's about knowing your market
Right.
and how to connect with your target audience.
Speaking of audience, how do you think herbal cosmetics are reshaping the way we view beauty as a whole?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I believe they're playing a really vital role in promoting a more holistic and mindful approach to beauty. It's no longer just about covering up imperfections.
Right.
It's about nourishing our skin and hair with ingredients that are good for us and good for the environment.
It's a shift in perspective.
It is. It's about embracing natural beauty.
Love it. Okay, and for our listener who's now inspired to go out and buy some herbal cosmetics,
Okay.
any advice for them as they're shopping?
My top tip would be to always read labels carefully
Yeah.
and do your research on the brands you're considering.
Okay.
Look for transparency in ingredient sourcing and manufacturing practices.
So it's about being an informed and conscious consumer.
It really is. It's about aligning your purchases with your values.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, awesome. So that wraps up part 1 of our deep dive into the world of herbal cosmetics.
Great.
And in part 2, we're going to get into the business side of things.
The nitty gritty.
So stay tuned.
It's going to be good.
Can't wait.
Me too.
All right, see you then.
See you soon. Welcome back. It's time to dive into the business side of herbal cosmetics.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm excited about this part.
It's one thing to create those amazing products,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a whole other ballgame to get them into the hands of eager customers.
Right, exactly. So where do we even begin?
Well, a solid business plan is your foundation.
Okay, a business plan?
Yeah, it's like your roadmap to success.
So it outlines everything you need to do.
It does. It lays out your target market, your brand story, your marketing strategy,
Wow.
your financial projections, all of that.
Okay, so like, what are some key things that every herbal cosmetics business plan should have?
Well, first, you need to really define your target audience.
Okay, target audience.
Who are you creating these products for?
Right.
What are their needs and desires?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of lifestyle do they lead?
So you need to like really understand them.
Exactly. Once you have a clear picture of your ideal customer, then you can start crafting a brand identity that really resonates with them.
That makes sense. You wouldn't market like anti-aging serums to teenagers or something.
Yeah, exactly. You need to speak their language.
So how do you create that brand identity? Like there are so many brands out there already.
Right, it's a crowded market.
How do you stand out?
Well, that's where your unique story comes in.
Okay, my unique story.
What values are you passionate about?
Mm-hmm.
What makes your approach to herbal cosmetics special?
Right.
What problem are you solving for your customers?
Okay.
Your brand story should be authentic and compelling.
So it's got to be real.
People can spot a fake a mile away.
Right. It has to be something that people connect with.
Absolutely. It's about building an emotional connection.
Okay, so once you have that strong brand identity,
Right.
then
you can start thinking about your marketing strategy.
oh, okay.
How are you going to reach your target audience?
Right.
Where do they hang out online and offline?
So are we talking like social media influencer marketing?
All of those can be effective tools.
Okay.
But it's about choosing the right channels for your audience and your budget.
So if you're targeting a younger audience,
Right.
you're going to be on TikTok and Instagram and all that.
Exactly. But if you're focused on a more mature audience, maybe Facebook or even print advertising might be more effective.
Okay, so it's about knowing your audience.
Knowing your audience and your budget.
And what kind of content should brands be creating?
Content is king, as they say.
Okay.
I think educational content is key in the herbal cosmetics space.
Okay, so like teaching people about the ingredients.
Exactly. People are curious about natural ingredients, and they want to learn more about how they can benefit their skin and hair.
So like blog posts, videos, infographics.
All of that.
Okay.
Share your knowledge, educate, and inspire your audience.
So it's about building trust.
It is. People buy from brands they trust.
What about behind-the-scenes content?
Oh, that's gold.
Yeah.
That's a great way to humanize your brand. Give people a glimpse into your process and your values.
Like show them where you make the products.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Share photos and videos from your workshop.
Okay.
Introduce your team. Talk about your commitment to sustainability.
So it's about being transparent.
Transparency and authenticity.
Yeah, people want to see what's behind the curtain.
They do it. They want to know who they're supporting.
Okay, so we've got educational content. We've got behind-the-scenes content.
Right.
What else?
Don't forget the power of storytelling.
Oh, yeah. Story.
Share customer testimonials. Highlight the positive impact your products are having on people's lives.
Okay.
Create content that evokes emotion and inspires action.
Wow, so it's about connecting on a deeper level.
It is. It's about creating a movement.
Love it. Okay, now let's talk about where you're actually going to sell these products.
Right. Sales channels.
Yeah, online, in stores, both.
That's a big decision.
What are the pros and cons of each?
Well, selling online through your own website gives you complete control.
Okay.
Over your brand and your customer experience,
Right.
you set your own prices, run promotions, collect valuable data on your customers.
But you have to build the website.
That's right. Building a successful e-commerce site takes time, effort, and investment.
What about retail stores?
Retail stores can be a great way to reach a wider audience.
Okay.
Get your products in front of new customers.
But you have to convince the stores to carry your product.
That's right. It can be competitive.
Yeah, and you have to share your profits.
You do. You'll need to be prepared to give the retailer a cut.
Okay, what about pop-up shops and events?
Oh, those can be fantastic.
Yeah.
Especially for a new brand.
How so?
Well, they can generate buzz, build relationships with customers,
Okay.
and test out new products or markets.
Oh, that's a good idea.
It's a more affordable way to get your products in front of a physical audience.
Right, without having to commit to like a long-term lease.
Exactly. It's a lower risk option.
So it sounds like there are a lot of different options.
There are Yerk. And the right approach will vary depending on the brand
Right?
and its target audience.
Any advice for navigating all of this?
Experiment.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to try different things. Track your results, analyze your data,
Okay.
and constantly refine your approach.
So be flexible.
Be flexible and adaptable.
What about certifications?
We talked about them a little bit before,
Mm-hmm.
but how important are they for building trust with customers?
They are incredibly valuable,
Okay.
especially for brands that are committed to sustainability and transparency.
Yeah, because it's like a third party coming in and saying,
Exactly.
yep, this is legit.
It gives consumers that extra reassurance.
But getting those certifications can be expensive.
It can be.
So is it worth it for a new brand?
It depends on your brand's positioning.
Okay.
If you're marketing yourself as a premium eco-conscious brand,
Right.
those certifications can be a real differentiator
Okay.
and help you command higher prices. But if you're going for a more budget-friendly approach,
Right. Then you might need to weigh the cost-benefit ratio more carefully.
so it's a strategic decision.
It is. And even if you don't pursue those certifications right away, you can still demonstrate your commitment to sustainability.
How so?
Be open about your sourcing practices.
Okay.
Highlight the natural ingredients in your products.
Mm-hmm.
Share your story in a way that connects with your audience's values.
So it's about being authentic.
Authenticity is key.
Let's talk money.
Okay, the financial side of things.
What kind of costs should people be prepared for?
Well, ingredient sourcing is a big one.
Okay.
Ingredients, packaging, manufacturing, marketing. Those are all major expenses.
Wow. Sounds like it can add up quickly.
You also need to factor in things like website development, legal fees, business insurance.
Okay, so for someone who's just starting out, any tips for minimizing those costs?
Definitely start small.
Okay, start small.
Bootstrap your business, work from home, source ingredients in bulk, handle packaging and fulfillment yourself.
So do as much as you can yourself.
Exactly. And there are also options like crowdfunding.
Oh yeah, crowdfunding.
Or microloans specifically for small businesses.
That's a good idea. Okay, so you start small, and then as you grow,
you can gradually invest in more equipment, hire staff.
So it's a step-by-step process.
It is. Rome wasn't built in a day.
Okay, that's good to remember. What are some of the challenges that people should be prepared for?
Well, one of the biggest ones is competition.
Oh yeah, I bet.
The natural beauty market is booming.
Right.
There are a lot of brands out there.
So you really got to stand out.
You do. You need a unique selling proposition. What else you got? Another challenge is dealing with the variability of natural ingredients.
Oh yeah, because Mother Nature doesn't always cooperate.
She doesn't, unlike synthetic ingredients, which are often standardized.
Right.
Natural ingredients can vary in quality and potency, depending on the weather, the soil, the harvesting techniques.
So how do you ensure consistency?
It requires meticulous sourcing practices,
Okay.
rigorous testing, and a deep understanding of those plants.
So it's a learning curve.
It is. You're always learning.
Okay, what other challenges?
Regulatory compliance can be a hurdle.
Ah, the regulations.
Navigating all those rules and labeling requirements can be tricky.
So you got to do your homework.
Do your homework and stay informed.
Okay, any other words of wisdom?
Be patient, persistent, and passionate.
The 3 Ps.
It takes time and effort to build a successful business. But if you believe in what you're doing and you're willing to put in the work, you can achieve amazing things.
Don't give up on your dream.
Don't give up, and don't be afraid to ask for help.
Okay, like find mentors.
Mentors, other entrepreneurs.
Network.
Build a community.
Yeah, because you're not alone.
You're not alone. There's a whole community of people out there who want to see you succeed.
Love it. All right, so that wraps up part 2 of our deep dive on the business of herbal cosmetics.
It does.
In part 3, we're going to explore some exciting innovations and trends.
Ooh, I can't wait.
Right, too.
So stay tuned.
Don't go anywhere.
All right, so welcome back to the deep dive for part 3.
Back for more.
We've covered so much ground already.
We have the science, the business.
Yeah, like everything.
The whole shebang.
I'm really excited to hear what's next for herbal cosmetics.
Me too. It's a really dynamic industry.
What exciting innovations and trends are on the horizon?
Well, one trend that's really fascinating to me is the rise of personalized herbal cosmetics.
Personalized cosmetics?
No, it's all about customization.
So, what does that even look like?
Imagine this.
Okay.
You take a quiz or use a device that analyzes your skin or hair.
Okay.
And then based on the results,
Mhm.
you get a custom blend of herbal ingredients designed specifically for you.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's like having a bespoke beauty regimen.
So cool. So how does that work? Well, there are a few different approaches.
Okay.
Some companies are using algorithms and data analysis to create personalized recommendations
Okay.
based on your user profile and a huge database of ingredients.
Wow.
And then there are at-home devices that can actually analyze your skin.
Really?
Yeah, they can measure things like moisture levels, oil production, even sensitivity.
Wow, technology is incredible.
It is, and it's really changing the way we approach skincare.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all approach anymore.
Nope. It's all about finding what works best for you.
I love that. What other trends are you seeing?
Transparency and traceability are huge right now.
Okay.
Consumers are really demanding to know the whole story behind their products.
Yeah, they want to know where the ingredients come from,
Exactly.
how they were produced, what impact they have on the environment.
It's about knowing the journey from seed to shelf.
I love that phrase, seed to shelf.
It's really resonating with consumers.
So brands that are open about their sourcing practices and their commitment to sustainability are really gaining an edge.
Transparency builds trust.
It does, and authenticity.
Exactly.
Okay, so for our listener who is just totally fired up about herbal cosmetics
Okay.
and wants to start their own business.
Yeah, what's the one piece of advice you would give them? Passion and perseverance are key.
Okay, so don't give up.
Don't give up. It's going to be challenging.
Yeah, starting a business is hard work.
It is, but it's also incredibly rewarding.
Yeah, especially when you're passionate about it.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to experiment.
Experiment.
Try new things.
Mm-hmm.
Think outside the box.
Okay.
There's so much room for creativity in this industry.
And connect with other people.
Absolutely.
Find your tribe.
Build a community of support.
Yeah, go to events, join online groups.
Share your ideas. Learn from others.
Collaboration over competition.
Exactly.
As we wrap up this incredible deep dive into the world of herbal cosmetics,
It's been a journey.
I'm curious to hear your thoughts on the bigger picture.
Okay.
How do you see this industry impacting the world in the years to come?
I think herbal cosmetics are part of a much larger movement
Okay.
towards conscious consumerism.
Right.
People are becoming more aware of the impact of their choices,
Yeah.
and they're choosing products that align with their values.
And herbal cosmetics fit right into that.
We do. They're good for the planet and good for the communities that produce them.
It's a beautiful thing.
It is.
So that brings us to the end of our deep dive into herbal cosmetics.
I've enjoyed it.
Me too. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise.
My pleasure.
And for our listener who is now ready to embark on their own herbal adventure,
Yes.
what unique blend of nature's wisdom and your own creative vision will you bring to the world?
Go make some magic.
Thanks for joining us on the deep dive